Hello everybody and welcome back to Building Southlake. I know it's been a week and one day off from the usual schedule, but last night I was having a very bad headache, so I did not record. It was basically more of a migraine than just a headache, so I figured I'd wait and do it today since I do not have as much of a headache today. So today we actually do have a tour of the city. Now we might be doing some things depending on how quick the tour goes. That part we're really going to have to wait and see on, how things go as we go throughout the video. So first of all, we do have a couple new blocks. I did not even know there was an update coming out. But if you look at this new block, can you see it? Can you see it? It's right here. There's actually two of them. So you have a purple block and a purple pillar. So basically, they're purple pretty much. It's kind of like how they sound. And I think I'm going to use these for exactly what they sound like. One, I'm probably going to use them for interior, like kitchens and stuff like that, because I like the tile look. But I'm going to use the other one for pillars, for buildings and stuff like that. So for this tour, I want to go over, the city, what's kind of new, and what are some of the things I am planning for the future, since that is another big portion that you guys always want to know about, from what it seems. So first off, we have a couple new buildings, which you guys have not seen yet. I made them last night in my free time, just didn't record because, like I said, I have a headache. But I did make some new buildings, and I think they actually look pretty good. So if we fly over here to the newest part of downtown, you're going to see a couple new buildings when we turn left. So we have these two new ones right here. So we have this one, and then that one's been kind of under construction for a couple weeks now. So basically, this is what it looks like. These are my two favorites right now, like over in this area. Now, I like this one because it's not a skyscraper, but it looks really good in this area. So I really like how it's kind of fitting in with the area right now. Now, you might be wondering, why not add skyscrapers like right next to the other skyscraper? That is a good question. The reason we are not doing that is because, of course, some cities do have skyscrapers next to skyscrapers, but a lot of them, they have a skyscraper, then a smaller building, a couple smaller buildings next to it, and then another skyscraper. So I'm going to try that and kind of see how that goes. So that's that. We have the tallest building on the map for Madrina's over here, which was done, I'll probably say a month ago or two. So if we fly all the way up here, it takes a while. You can see that this is Madrina's. They make some amazing coffee. This video is not sponsored by them, but it is something that I did make for them because, they're awesome. And if we fly up here, you can kind of see what a interior will look like eventually at some point, hopefully. So basically, we're going to have this big open area going all the way up to, I don't know how many floors there are, probably like 50 floors. And then basically, we have the elevators. You walk out, you have a big railing that you can come over to, and so on and so forth. So very simple. Fly out here. So over here, I'm not too sure what I want to do yet. I'm not sure if I want to add like a couple small real buildings over here. And with this area, I'm not sure if I want to add in another building or whatnot there either. Because I'm not really sure if I want to add a parking lot yet. I'm still trying to figure that out as I go. And as of right now, I'm just not 100% sure. So over this way, so obviously we haven't really expanded any of the roads recently because there's not really any need to yet. We have to get all these buildings done first. And I want to see, one, this road right here will keep extending going forward as far as I think it will go. But the ones over here, I'm holding off on turning just so I can figure out how many buildings I want to be. When do I want the next, block? Because basically a block is in between roads pretty much, if you think about it that way. So I'm trying to figure out how big do I want a block to be. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out now with these two buildings that I'm adding. And I think we're actually getting onto a pretty good scale for this. So we might do it after this building. I'm not 100% sure. Only problem with that as of right now is if we did that, there's not a lot of room right here for another building. It would probably be like around here. So we do have a good amount of space. It's not as much space as I would like. So we could probably figure something out as we go. All right, let's fly back this way again. We got some more stuff to kind of cover over here. So if you fly over here, we have a lot of unfinished buildings. No big surprise there. I kind of wish I would have made some of these buildings over on the newer side of downtown, but I'm still happy with where they are. So I do like how big this main road is. It's actually one of my favorite roads on the map because of the fact that it does have the metro rail on top of it. And I do want to, start extending this more as we go. And I'm kind of thinking, to an extent, I'm not sure how this would work yet, maybe having it go in the middle right here in between this part of downtown. I feel like that would look pretty good, but we do need to have, stations and stuff like that farther along the way. So again, that will be some more planning for all of that. And I will be answering another big question that a lot of you guys have been asking for the past year, over a year, about when it's going to be built. I'm sure some of you guys may know what I'm even talking about. Right here, we have the Microsoft building right here. And this building, I still think it looks really good. Only reason why I'm holding off on it, one, very time consuming. Two, I'm not sure how wide I want the building to be yet. So as of right now, it's only 2 blocks wide, pretty much. Like, you can kind of see like what blocks I'm talking about. I mean, I'm considering like this to be one full block. So basically, that's what I'm considering to be a block right there. I'm not sure how many I want to have, what kind of building I want to have behind it. Do I want to have a parking garage attached to it? So I'm still trying to figure that out, but I do like how the building is turning out so far. As of right here, we have another apartment complex, which I'm not a big fan of the sides as of right now. It's not bad. I think I could have done it a little bit better, though, to my new, system of standards for my buildings and stuff like that. One of my favorite designs for a building is this one right here. I think it just looks very, very clean, very modern at the same time. And I just like it for that reason. This is also an apartment complex. You will be seeing more of those popping up just because of the fact that, a lot of cities need apartments pretty much because it's a big city. And that's what we're trying to go for here. So that's one of the other main things that I want to focus on in the future is apartment buildings and, just regular smaller buildings like the one next to it. Over here, we have where the library is going to be. Again, unfinished building. Big surprise there. We have a lot of unfinished buildings as of right now. And they do bother me that they're not finished. But at the same time, I always want to start on new buildings and stuff like that. So right here is going to be the library. I actually really like how the library looks. I just need to finish the backside of it. And on the backside, I'm not sure if I skipped over this. We do have some ATMs right here are where the ATMs are. And one of the other nice things about this part of the downtown is the roads I'm trying to make them more realistic when it comes to twists and turns, how everything transitions into the next road. And I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. So as you can tell, this goes down. But you have a off-ramp and an on-ramp to the highway, along with this overpass going over and connecting with the highway over there. So again, trying to make it feel more realistic, more like an actual city planning out of roads. And that's one of my hardest parts for me is planning out that kind of stuff. I'm not more of a road person or interior person. I'm more of an exterior kind of guy, but I'm trying to get better with that as we speak. So now we're getting into the older downtown. So a lot of you guys may know this part of, the city because it's so old at this point. A lot of you guys, if you've been watching since the beginning, are probably going to notice and, remember a lot of this stuff because it is kind of old. But it is kind of still impressive in my opinion. When you look at it, the buildings are everywhere. Everything's kind of complete to an extent. I mean, besides interior, most buildings are complete over in the main downtown area. And to fly over here, I think at one point the building that is right here used to be the tallest building on the map until the Madrina's building. Still one of my favorite designs though because of the big, huge pillars right there going all the way up. And it's so tall you can't even see the top of it yet. There we go. And this building was actually taken from a inspiration from New York City, I think, out of all cities. Big surprise there again. Over here, we have the park, which I like the park, but at the same time, I want to have an actual park, like with more grass and stuff like that in the newer downtown at some point. Again, a lot of, stuff I'm going to say, like, I want to do this. It's really going to depend on if I can find a good design. I still like this design, though. I think it looks very nice. And maybe what I could even do is replace all the gravel with grass. There's a lot of options I can go around and doing here. I'm just trying to figure out as we go. A lot of small row buildings right here, which I love row buildings more than skyscrapers, believe it or not. Just because of the fact that I feel like you can make these look so much better than skyscrapers. Because these small little row buildings make a city. And if you think I'm joking about that, I've always said my favorite view of my city so far is not the skyline from the river. My favorite view is actually right here. And now why is that? Why is this my favorite view? The reason for these row buildings, the reason I like them so much is because one, a city is mainly made up out of all types of row buildings and stuff like that in major cities like New York. But the reason I like these even more is because you can see the skyscrapers behind them. You can see the different levels the city has. It's not just all nice and flat, That's why I like row buildings so much is because they have that aspect of them that makes the city look better and more realistic. That's why you're going to see a lot more row buildings popping up in the newer downtown, and that's what I'm trying to work on now. Over here, we do have the museum, which is still incomplete. Again, no big surprise there. I really like how the museum looks. I think it's very, very clean. It's very modern looking, and it actually looks like what a museum would look like, in my opinion. And there is a nice little switch, if you look right here, that a good museum should have in case anybody tries to steal anything, is if we fly, I think it's over here. Yep, right here. I flip that, and voila, these come up to stop any cars from getting out. Kind of just a nice little feature I thought I would add. Let's see, what else do we got? Ooh, we have the mall, which is kind of a newer build to an extent. So the mall is another thing I want to work on at some point. Again, I have so many, I've said that so many times this episode, but there are so many things to work on and constantly be worked on. So this is the mall. I think the mall looks really good so far. There's still some things that need to be fixed here and there, but there are a couple things that I wish I would have done differently if I would redo the mall again today. And that is, I wish I would have made the mall a little bit taller. I feel like it's just not that tall compared to like other buildings and stuff like that. So it's one thing I probably dropped the ball on, in my opinion. But the actual design of it and how it looks, I think it looks very close to how a mall should look. Over here, we're going to have a big parking lot. So this is kind of when you're getting out of the city boundaries. You're kind of getting more into the open and suburban areas. So I have a mall right here, big parking lot in the middle. Back behind the parking lot, I would like to have maybe like, soccer fields, baseball fields, stuff like that, to where you could like take your kids to play in tournaments and stuff like that, theoretically. And this lane right here is to pick up and drop off, your kids, whatever, as you go. So again, it's the small details that really matter in the end. Over here, what store is this? Oh yeah, we had the nerd store. I forgot what I was supposed to reference. And then we also have the attached parking garage, which I think I'm really happy with. I think it turned out great, especially when you come over into the elevators that will take you down. I think the waiting room looks very, very good, especially for me. I'm pretty proud of it. So again, small achievements that you can consider. Where else can we go? We have the highway here. We have one of the other skyscrapers that was a good idea at first, but I don't like the design of it as much as I thought I would. But it's still a nice little building to have. I might make it to where it's under construction. That could be another great thing to have over here. So we might do that. We have, I think, the GE buildings, I think is actually what these are called. With the ice rink back here. Whoop. And one of my other favorite views of the city right here. This looks fantastic. I want to add another building just like this over in the newer downtown once it's complete. I think that could be a great thing to have. Okay, so that's pretty much it for, a lot of the older downtown. Now, let's get into some of the plans for the city. Excuse me. So, one of the plans and one of the things that you guys have been asking for a very, very long time is, when are you going to build an airport? Are you going to build an airport? There's a lot of those questions. Also, real quick before I even get to that, we have the stadium. I'm not even sure how I forgot about the stadium. We have our baseball stadium over here, which is still one of my favorite builds as well. It's because I feel like it looks very realistic. And voila. And you can even see you can see the bridge in the background. So I feel like it's a very good location for this. But anyways, let's get back over into the airport. So what I'm thinking, most likely, is I'm going to put the airport somewhere over here. Now, if you've been watching and following this series, you know why I have not works on the airport at all. And the reason for that is space. Basically, imagine a runway, if we want it to be realistic and scale, it's basically going to have to start, just say from, we'll make a pillar. We're going to have to say it starts right here, right? So let's say our runway starts there. If we want a realistic size runway and more of like an international airport, we'd basically have to keep going, keep going, keep going, probably all the way over to here, if not longer, of a run, just the runway. Just imagine that, just the runway. That does not include the building, parking, all that kind of stuff. I had to catch my breath. So that's pretty much the reason why I have not built an airport. It's just the scale of it. It's going to be humongous. So I need to make sure I have the space for it. Because if I don't, things can kind of go downhill from there. And an airport is one of those things where I want to have a airport be realistic as possible. Because as you guys know, I did build an airport for a tutorial a long time ago. I don't think I ever finished that build. And some of you guys are probably still waiting for me to finish it, which is not going to happen. But one of the things that I do want to do is make a realistic kind of airport. I think that would be great. And there's just so many more things to do. But I think so far, it's still impressive that the city has come this far with just one person, me, working on it. Because as you guys know, I do not let anybody build on this map. It's only me. So basically in the past year, I've done all this by myself. That's why you see so many unfinished buildings. I get ideas stuck in my head. I want to get them out, so I immediately move on to the next thing I have in mind. So that's why you're not going to see me finishing up some of these buildings anytime soon, maybe. I might even do some of those off camera. But it is kind of impressive to know that I've done all this by myself when it comes to the buildings, replacing the grass with stone, replacing the grass with roads, trying to figure out where the roads go, where things would look best. Like the stadium was another big thing, like if it would even fit in between the two bridges here. So there's a lot of things to figure out, and I'm really proud about how far this has really come. So I will talk to you guys later. Thank you very much for watching this tour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you do want to see anything else put into the city, please let me know in the comments what you think I should add. And I will talk to you guys later. So, bye-bye.